Okay.
All right, guys. Well, welcome to Have It All this summer. We're so excited to bring you this summer series. It is going to knock your socks off, and I hope you have pen and paper or electronic notepad, whatever you're going to use to take notes, because it's going to be fast and furious tonight. So I wanted to start out by introducing myself for those of you who don't know me, do a little housekeeping. We'll be going into some training, and then I'll have a guest speaker, and we'll end with questions. So there will be time for questions. Every call in this series will kind of follow that outline. So write down your questions along the way, and then make sure you ask at the end. That will be super helpful for time-saving tips. Okay. So, most of you, I would imagine, probably got access to our takeaway sheets. If you didn't, ask your leader. I will show you. I'm going to share my screen a few times tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what that looks like. So this is something you can use along the way to take notes with. And then we encourage you to, one second, let me make sure it's on the slideshow. So we encourage you to take notes on this, whether you're watching every time live or the recording, and then take a screenshot or a photo of your notes and share it in your team's page, just so that it helps everyone get excited and learn new ideas from each other. And if you don't have access to this PDF of takeaway sheets for each call, just make sure your leader posts it for you, or you can go through and ask. So, all right, let's dive in here. My name is Kristen Waringa, and I'm a Senior Executive Director with Pampered Chef. I have been with Pampered Chef for 4 years, and a little bit about me I'll dive into in a few minutes. So grab your pen and paper, and I want to start out with just some questions and having you guys take some notes. So I want you to think about, what would you like to have this summer? What would you like to do this summer with your family, with your spouse, with your kids? What have you always said you wanted maybe each summer that maybe you haven't experienced yet, or maybe you haven't had it yet? So I want you to go ahead and take some notes of what those things might be. So if you're just joining us, I'll repeat the question. You can take some notes. What would you like to have this summer? What would you like to do with your family, your spouse, your kids? Maybe something you've always said that you wanted to do, but you haven't gotten around to doing it. Or your favorite thing that you guys do every summer. Okay, so the next question, if come September, your kids are back in school if you have kids, or you're winding down from your summer activities, kind of back into fall routines, and you're reflecting on your summer, and it was an awesome summer. Like, you're just sitting there and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I had such a full, abundant, blessed summer. What would that have looked like for you? What did you do with your kids, with your spouse, with your family? What would make you most happy if you were reflecting on your summer and thinking, that was amazing? And write those thoughts down too. And you guys are welcome to share in the chat bar what some of those things are for you. We don't have time to unmute folks because there's so many of you, but feel free to share in the chat bar, what does an amazing summer look like for you? What would just fill your heart overflowing with happiness because of all the things you got to experience? And that's what we're going to be talking about on these calls, is how do you accomplish that? How do you have it all, from family, business, fun, vacations? How do you go through summer having all of those things? Oh my gosh, I love what Alexis just shared. Keep the comments going. Okay, so we're gonna circle back to this at the end, but I wanted to share a little bit more about my story. So like I shared, I started with Pampered Chef 4 years ago. I didn't have any Pampered Chef at my house. My kit was my first product, but I had always thought about, the products were great. I had heard so much about them. I thought they were great, and the reputation was there. My friend was actually a Pampered Chef consultant. She came to my house and did a fajitas and Rita's party. I had a kind of a crappy cooking show. I'm not going to lie. There were like 4 people there. But I decided to get my kit, and a little bit about where we were as a couple and where I was in my life. So I was working full time as a Parks and Recreation director. Parks and Rec is fun, you guys. If you've seen the show, it's kind of like the show. So, not entirely, but maybe a little bit. And I was also working a night job. I was actually teaching fitness classes at night, and my daughter was 1, and my husband and I were like pretty stingy with our money. Like, we're penny pinchers. Like, we got married and we didn't have a lot of money. I joke that like my wedding ring was like a $900 ring. Like, we did not splurge on things. I had $20,000 in student loans. Who has student loans? Raise the hand, right? If you had student loans or have them, I had a car payment, I had credit card bills. And so coming into Pampered Chef, my thought was like, well, I don't know if I have time for this, but I know I want to pay off all these things so that we can put ourselves in a better financial position. We had just bought a really small house, 1,100 square feet, because the market just crashed. It was a good time to buy. We scrounged up enough money to be able to buy a house and start our family there. So that's kind of where I was when I first started. And it was hard to balance Pampered Chef and doing that at the same time. All the other things. And so I wanted to share with you guys what one of my first paychecks looked like. But to give you a picture, my first office was in my kitchen. It was this little teeny corner in my kitchen. And I don't know about you guys, if you have a small office space like that, I had papers filed behind my laptop, and I had one little small drawer that I could like put stuff in. And in reality, it was my laptop and like papers shoved all the way around because I had this super tiny little space. And so one of my very first checks was not very big. So I started where a lot of you guys have started. And I just like to share this because I think it's super inspiring to see where people have come from. So this is one of my first checks, a $500 check. And as my business grew, so did my need for space. So next comes this little office in my master bedroom. I put my table out. I cleared out a part of my closet to be able to put stuff, but we didn't really have the space because my business was growing and growing, and I was still working full time, and money was starting to come in a little more. So a few months later, about a year later, now I'm making like $1,300 a month, and I'm a director. And I promoted to director. I was really excited about the products. I actually signed up just to get the products for free. So that was really enticing to me to get the director samples. And so here I am. We're using this money to pay off our student loans. And it's very exciting because when I make that last student loan payment, it is like the heavens opened up. It's like, student loan debt is gone, and Pampered Chef had helped do that all along the way. So I really started out where you guys all started out. It's how it starts, is just slow and steady for some, and you can just build and build, and others are fast and super fast paced and growing. So it's really exciting to know that like someone from humble beginnings and didn't really have a lot could get to where you are and pay off your student loans and have a successful career and have a family and be able to balance it. So I will say that I was unhappy in my job eventually because I wanted a promotion and I wanted to make more money, and they didn't have that for me at my job. And so I decided to leave my job with the Parks and Recreation because I wanted to pursue Pampered Chef more. So it was a huge risk to quitting my full-time job to pursue Pampered Chef, but I got to the point where my business outgrew my time and I needed to make a change. And I was super scared and nervous, but I also knew that the newfound time that I had from quitting my job would help my business soar. And we were in a better financial position now because we paid off some of the bigger debts we had. We paid off my car, and we were just left with our house, our little teeny house for debt. So fast forward a couple years, and now I sit in this office with doors, an elaborate desk. I have organized storage shelves, space for whiteboards to hang things, and even awards and plaques that I've earned with Paper Chef. And I don't share this to brag, you guys, but I share this because I've been in each of your shoes. I started where you all have started. I've had seasons in my life where I've had to ask relatives to borrow money to pay my bills. I've had to work my butt off to make ends meet and live paycheck to paycheck. I worked full time as I was going through college, and I was working, Pampered Chef was my third job when I started. So I've gone through those fears of what people, what you guys maybe have gone through, and I've had them as well. Like, what are people going to think of me by doing direct sales? What if I fall flat on my face? What if I fail? And I've totally been there. And now I'm living this life that I would have never dreamed in my wildest dreams. Like, from living paycheck to paycheck, asking for money for relatives in my college years, to just a few short years ago. Like, that's how it was just kind of scraping through and trying to pay things off. And now it's insane to me. It gives me goosebumps because it's like, okay, what's our next project going to be? We have money that we've never had before. And it's like, well, we could remodel our kitchen with cash. We could remodel our bathroom. We could buy my husband a truck. And so we can pay cash for things that we never would have imagined before. It's just so humbling. And now I've looked at other people that I really look up to in other direct sales companies or top leaders in our company. And I'm like, how, I see people like building homes, and they have these elaborate homes. I'm like, how can they afford that? And it's crazy because now it's starting to come together to where you get to this point where you can provide for your kids and have this abundant life where they can participate in like anything they want to participate in, and they're not held back by cost. Like, we used to go out to eat, and I would look at every single thing on the menu and how much it cost, and I would order based off of how much the menu items cost. Does anybody else do that? And you get to this point, you can get to this point in your business where you have the extra income that doesn't happen anymore. And it's like, wow, I have this, I don't have to live paycheck to paycheck. So the great thing is, you guys, is that I'm just like you, and there's nothing special about me that you can't have too. I think it's very inspiring to hear where people come from and then know what kind of income you can make and what kind of potential there is. And there's no reason that you guys sitting here today or listening on your drive or wherever you're at, there's no reason that you can't experience these exact same joys too. You can break the cycle of debt. You can achieve levels of financial freedom that maybe no one in your family has achieved before. You could lift the burden of financial hardship from weighing heavy on your marriage, if that's what you're going through. Whatever it is, you can totally break through it. And that's where we are at with this season of training for you guys this summer. And I want you guys to be thinking, like, what could you have if you paid off the things you need to pay off? What worries or stresses would go away? What could you provide for your kids and your spouse and your family that are things that you only dreamed about? So things that you think maybe you might take a lifetime to achieve, you can achieve them in a matter of years. Things you never imagined you could achieve in just years, you can imagine in months. And so I think it's amazing that you've all invested your time and energy into this training, because that is how you move along in your business to continue investing and paying off those bills and having an amazing summer. So I want to talk about and share with you guys how you can have this lifestyle that you want over the summer, how you can accomplish your goals. And I am going to share my screen again. Sorry, going back and forth here. Okay, so before I do that, I want to share with you. So this is one of my recent checks. And it's not maybe as big as some of our other speakers, but $12,000 a month is massive for us. From going paycheck to paycheck to having $12,000 a month. Like, what would you guys do with an extra $12,000 a month, right? So I want to also share a couple people on our team really quick, just inspiring stories. This is Brianne. She's a teacher. She now has 2 kiddos. When she first started, this was one of her first paychecks. This is the kind of money you can make right away. Like you could step out of this training and put some things into action, and you could go have an $800 paycheck, a $500 paycheck. And now Brianne, one of her recent paychecks is $4,264. As a teacher working full-time with 2 kids, that is an amazing income. And then Erin, do you guys see a trend here? I thought, oh my gosh, I'm putting all of these young moms like me out here. It's not everyone on our team like this. I thought I probably should have pulled other examples for you guys, but it's just what I happen to have handy. So Erin, and she's another young mom. She also works full-time. And this was her very first paycheck. And she actually came from another direct sales company. She was very nervous to sign up and have success. And she made $600 in her first month. A couple months later, in March, her paycheck was $3,500. So I share this because I want you guys to know that you can achieve these things too. And there's so much opportunity. You can have this kind of paycheck this summer. Literally by the end of summer, if you invest time and energy into your business, you could have this too. So let's break it down a little bit. So this is summertime success, kind of with our Have It All formula. So there's a lot of math here, so bear with me, okay, guys? So if you made 10 outreaches a day, generally 3 people will respond back. Okay, so if you're out there and you're like, I send all these messages and I feel like they just ghost me and they don't respond back to me, that's normal. We all have that. But generally, 3 people will tend to respond back just on general stats, okay? Now, out of those 3 contacts, usually you can make 1 booking, right? We say 1 out of 10 will book a party. So 1 booking from those 10 outreaches, okay? Now, imagine that you do this 5 days a week. You reach out to 10 people every day. You do this 5 days a week. You have 50 outreaches, okay? That means 15 people responded back to you if you're doing the same math. Out of those 15 contacts, you can make 5 bookings, okay? 5 bookings a week. Imagine what you could do with your business with 5 bookings a week. I'm going to show you. So over the summer, let's say we take June, July, and August, because this is a Have It All This Summer series, right? That's 13 weeks. You make 15 contacts, 15 two-way conversations in those outreaches. Over those 13 weeks, it's 195 contacts, two-way contacts. 5 bookings per week over 13 weeks is 65 parties, okay? 65 parties at a 20% cancellation rate, because we have shows that cancel, we have hosts that ghost us, right? Maybe that's 13 parties for 20%. So you actually hold and submit 52 shows. Okay, 52 shows times a $400 party average. We just picked 400 average. You can put your own average in here and do the math for yourself. Would equal 20,800 in sales, in party sales. That would be 17 shows per month, which could come out to 4 shows per week. Okay, so that 20,800 divided by 3 months, it's a lot of math here, bear with me, June, July, and August, right, over 3 months, would be 6,933 in sales per month. Per month for 4 shows a week. Okay, each month, that would mean you would have 1,733 a month in commission. How amazing is that? That is 10 outreaches a day. Who can commit to 10 outreaches a day, right? Raise your hand, comment in the chat bar. That could be all it takes to have $1,700 extra per month, and you times that by 3, that's an extra $5,000 this summer, $5,199, okay? What would you do with an extra $5,199 this summer, right? The chat is going crazy and I definitely cannot keep up with it, but I love that you guys are saying, I can commit to that, I can commit to that. Literally all it takes sometimes is 10 minutes a day, and you're there, you're making your contacts, and those contacts can really turn into that for you. It can turn into that kind of income. So following the systems that your director has given you, follow those, because they truly have the response and the success and all the results that we want from our parties, when you follow those systems, you will also have success. 1 hour a day, 10 minutes a day to make your 10 contacts, and then maybe invest an hour a day in your business, maybe 2 hours a day to do your host coaching, running your parties, and you too can have those same types of checks that I shared with you guys. So at the beginning, we talked about what kind of summer you would want to have when you have this kind of income, so I want you to put the two together. Okay, revisit what you want to have for this summer and how can you utilize this kind of income to achieve those things that you put on your list. So I was talking with, real quick before we have our guest speaker come on, hopefully she's here, she can put in the chat bar. Rochelle, if you're here, I'm here in the chat bar. So I was sharing this with a director on our team, and she shared a story with me. She's like, we always talk about wanting to go camping as a family every summer, and we just, we don't do it. Like, it just doesn't get put on the calendar. And I said, well, girl, like, why don't you pull out your calendar and like pencil it in? And then I asked, well, what would make that camping trip awesome with your family? And she's like, if my fiance could go with us, if he could take a week off of vacation and come with us, that would be the best camping trip. And so she's like, what if my Pampered Chef income, I could bring in enough extra Pampered Chef income that my fiance could take time off work and we could go camping together for a week as a family, instead of having to squish it in a weekend and go Friday to Sunday. That's the kind of example. What kinds of things can you do this summer that maybe you couldn't do before, because now you're investing 10 minutes a day to do your 10 contacts, an hour a day to run your parties, do your host coaching, and now you have this extra income that you didn't have before, right? So I'm gonna ask Rochelle to unmute herself and come on. Let me tell you a little bit about Rochelle. So Rochelle has been with Pampered Chef for a little over a year, about a year and a half-ish. She can correct me if I'm wrong here. And she fast-tracked director, and she also fast-track advanced director. And she is preparing to reach month 1 of executive in, it'd be like 18 months, 17 months. And she also works full-time and manages a little farm with her husband, their little property area. So Rochelle, go ahead and hop on. I know Julie is asking if I can share the screen. Yes, I'll put that up here in a little bit. And hopefully your leaders can share that screen as well, because it is super helpful. Okay, Rochelle, take it away.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for the intro, Kristen. And then listening to your story.
Oh, Rochelle, you're like cutting in and out. I know, I can't hear her either. Hold on, I'm gonna try and message her. Donna, maybe you can mute Rochelle's line. Rochelle, we can't hear you. Okay, well, we will see if Rochelle can maybe put together a little video for us. Super bummer she is cutting in and out because her story is really fascinating. So I really wanted you guys to hear from someone who does work full-time. How many of you guys work full-time in addition to your Pampered Chef business? Yes. And so it's so inspiring to hear from other people that also work full-time. Rochelle, do you want to try again? One more time, maybe? You were cutting in and out really bad, but it looks like you're not frozen anymore.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Okay, awesome. I was saying thanks for the intro. I saw some parallels between your story and mine, so that was kind of fun. Yes, I work full time. I was working full time when I started as well. And at the time, I was looking for like a side hustle, something to bring in some extra income. whether that was, I was like, should I like get into crafting or like Uber driving? I really didn't want to try direct sales again, because I had tried one other company. It was like a supplements company before, and it was really hard, and I didn't have any success really at all. Anyways, so I was like, no, like, I'm good. I don't, like, wasn't even considering it. But funny story, my neighbor, Nalani, who's actually driving us to a training in Camas, Washington right now, hosted a fajitas and margaritas party. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to miss that. It was fun. I, ordered. I was excited about my products. It had been probably like 9 years since I had been to a party before. I'd probably only been to one before. And so Brianne, that was introduced briefly a little bit ago, was the consultant, and she, I booked a party that also was not well attended. I think, so Nalani came, my mom came, I think one other person came. Oh, my sister probably stopped by, but I got outside orders, and I had like an $800 party, and Brianne's like, oh my gosh, you'd be like such an awesome consultant. And I was like, no, like, I'm good. But she, kept asking me, and I'm so glad she did, because I mean, really, it's changed so much of my life. I started Pamper Chef with $15,000 in student debt that it's probably going to take me another 5 or 6 years to pay off. Like $5,000 or $6,000 in credit card debt. All of the credit card debt's paid off, and I still have, I think, about $4,000 in student debt to pay off. But also what the money has helped me do is, when we were remodeling our old house to get it ready to sell, we didn't have to go into debt buying new flooring, paint, trim, like doing all these things to prep our house to sell, which was a huge blessing. And so I'm going to share a little bit about, you guys can go in. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. A little bit about when I decided to get serious, and like how I really boosted my business while working full time. So I invested in going to conference last year, and no, that's fine. I invested in going to conference last year. So, I took off a couple days from work. I, bought the plane ticket, paid my part of the room and all that. And that really boosted my business. So if you are going to conference, like, you're already ready to go, got your ticket, registration, everything, like, awesome, because it's going to skyrocket your business. But when I came back, I really was like, I really want to take things to the next level. And I decided to read Miracle Morning, which, if you haven't read that yet, highly recommended. It's a pretty short read. But, I started putting in time in my business, before work. So I was getting up at 5 a.m. and working. Yeah, awesome book. Working towards my goals, and, finding pockets of time, whether that was, I carpool with my sister sometimes. And so if she's driving, I'd be like on my phone working. I'd be like making like customer calls to home office to like fix somebody's order. I'd be like host coaching. I'd be doing anything I could while I was not driving myself. And if I was walking into work that day from her office, like, I was that millennial walking down the sidewalk on my phone, like checking out my parties, responding to, like, doing anything I could in that pocket of time that I had, that I didn't have to be like tied to something else. And I mean, also like in the car, if I was driving myself, I listened to audio trainings all the time during my commute. If I like missed a meeting, I'd like catch up on the meeting. I'd like attend meetings while driving, because I just like put my phone in the dash, and I'm driving home, and I attend meetings that way. Literally sitting in a car right now on this meeting. But if you work full time and you have a commute that is like kind of a gold mine, because you can really accomplish a lot, whether it's listening to an audiobook or training or something that's going to help you boost your business, because it's going to inspire you. It's going to give you, you know, tools for your business. It's going to, you know, find something to listen to. If you're just listening to music, I mean, consider something that's going to add value to your business and help you kind of propel your business. Let's see. I made notes and then I just jumped all around here. You know, on my lunch at work, my friend, she would like book a conference room for her lunch and like go in there and do her Pampered Chef work. I kind of do that similarly, and just find the pockets of time really in your life where, whether you're standing in line at the grocery store, or better yet, click list your groceries so you don't have to spend time grocery shopping. And just literally finding pockets of time, whether it's 5, 10, 15 minutes, wherever you can, to just squeeze something in. So you're not having to take all that time away from your family, or away from the rest of your life. So I don't know how long I talked. You said I had 10 minutes.
No, you did great. You did great. I think what's the big takeaways here, guys, is that you can have success with your business working full time. And Rochelle just shared with you many different ways where she squeezes in Pampered Chef into different pockets along the way. And Rochelle is like this amazing pinnacle of success that's now getting ready to promote to executive and a really high level of leadership with the company. She's intentional, like Vicki just shared. And I know some of you guys were asking, oh, I need like the specific skills. How do I do this? Or how do I do that? And we're going to actually walk through training on each one of these. We wanted to start out with the opportunity for you guys to just dream a little and set some goals. How do you have it all this summer? Like, what does that look like for you, so that you can still have the things that you want to have a fulfilling summer, and then also fit in those 10 contacts a day. And you can see how much you can earn when you're intentional and focused on your business. So we're going to open it up to questions here in a minute, but I wanted to share, like Rochelle was talking about investing in books and audiobooks and things like that. Well, my current read is Becoming by Michelle Obama. I'm always reading something, and there was something really interesting that I wanted to share in here to leave you with. So she was leading up to this, she had been dating Barack Obama. And she was talking about how he was doing a lot of this work in communities and chatting with community groups to help improve their neighborhoods and help improve their lives. And so there was a question that he asked this group he was talking to, and he says, you know, do we settle for the world as it is, or do we work for the world as it should be? You give up or you work for change. And that was so good, because it's like, do we settle for the life that we have right now, or are we going to work for the life that we know we should have, that we deserve, that we want? And so it's so good. It's just like not giving up and not settling, and instead working for the change that you want and working for your goals and work for the life that you should have and that you deserve. And so so today I want to leave you guys with a call to action before we open it up to questions. So your call to action is to share on your page for your team, share your summer why. Why are you working your business this summer? Why do you want to earn that extra income? What is it going to do for your family or your spouse or your kids? What are your summer goals, right? How is this extra income that you can make through doing these 15 minutes a day to get these contacts out, to get these parties booked, to run your parties? How is that going to better your summer and help you achieve your summer goals? And just as a recap, you can use that takeaway sheet that I shared at the very beginning of our call. Take your notes on that, and that can also be your, you sharing it, because there are some questions in there that are kind of reflection questions that are great. What changes are you going to make, or what are you going to implement? So let's go ahead and open it up to questions here. We have about 5 minutes or so. You can unmute yourself to ask your question, or you can also ask in the chat. So one of the questions was, what audiobooks do you recommend? I personally really like anything that is professional development because we can learn so many different skills from the trainings that our leaders provide and PCU and such. But I think it's really important for us to also be working on ourselves and how we can improve and take our business to the next level through professional development. So yeah, how to reach out. We're definitely gonna be talking all about bookings. We're gonna have a whole training all about bookings for you guys. What version of Miracle Morning do you recommend? I have also read it, just the simple version. Like there's one main version that's really good. You could start with that, and then if you like it, you could read some of the other versions if you want. Questions. What is the name of it's called Becoming, and it's not necessarily, political based. It's just it's like her telling her story of her life and where she's at right now. It is very inspiring, and I am reading it for a book club, and I actually took a ton of notes, and there's little nuggets for business that I have been able to take out of that. So I love how Beth is like, it's a great book. I was going to share this other screen with you guys. Go ahead and unmute. Unmute if you would like to ask a question. I'm going to share this slide because I know some of you guys are asking me to share that. One person asked, can you give us a typical day in the life of Kristen? So I love this question. I'll get to Kimberly's too in a second. So I'm going to tell you a typical day in my life is like, but that's going to be different than your business because I'm a senior executive and you might be a consultant or a team leader or a director. And so every journey I've been on, every career title I've had, it has morphed and changed. So what I'm doing today is not what I was doing as a consultant. So I just want to preface it with that. I wake up at 5:20, I get my coffee, I work in my office for a couple hours. I have a to-do list. I'm working off a to-do list every day. So I go straight to my to-do list and I start to work off my priority items on that list. And then I get my kids ready for school. I get them breakfast and I get my daughter off onto the bus. I usually do an activity with my son in the morning. I volunteer for MOPS on the leadership team, which is mothers of preschoolers. So I do that in some of my mornings or go to the park, and then lunch, and then my son goes down for a nap. And so I work during his nap time, so that's a couple hours in the afternoon, get my daughter off the bus, make dinner. We eat dinner as a family, which we did right before this. And then usually we do a family activity or I'm doing yard work or something around the house. And then when the kids go to bed, I help put them to bed, and then I'll work my business after that. So it's definitely some more time investing than I was as a consultant or director. When I first started, I was probably spending like 2 to 4 hours a week on my business, and then it's just kind of grown from there. And now earning 6 figures, and that's kind of what a daily schedule is like. If my husband has the day off, I'll have him watch the kids in the morning or the afternoon, and I'll take like a 3 to 4 hour chunk and just get it all done, get a bunch of stuff done in like a long chunk of time. I usually try and fit a workout in there too, usually in the afternoon time after nap. Okay, so when I sit down to do booking messages, host coaching, posts and parties, etc., it takes me way more than 10 to 15 minutes. I spent 2 hours today. Oh my gosh, Kimberly, that's a great question. How can I maximize my time? So first of all, anything that you can automate it. Posting is something you can automate. It is going to save you time. So a really good book, since we're talking about books, is Procrastinate on Purpose. Anything by Rory Vaden, because he talks about how to like automate and make things more efficient. So you have to find ways that you can maybe bulk host coach and use a posting service and do all those things in ways that can save you time and energy. And when we dive into the specifics, we're also going to have a call all about host coaching, where the leaders are going to give you their systems, like talk about their systems so that you can learn how we save a bunch of time with that. But my best advice would be anything that you can do together, like batch your host coaching, do it together as a group, get a posting service going to save yourself time. One tip for you guys doing virtual parties: do not look at your notifications, notification by notification by notification. Instead, go into your party that you're going to check your comments on and everything, and just scroll through the whole party and do reply, reply, reply instead of going notification by notification, because it's not time efficient to do it notification by notification. So just want to make sure I have some questions. I know we're kind of maxing out on time here. So, and I do like how Nikki suggested blocking time off. And so you could do a calendar blocking system, which is where you like say, okay, every half an hour that I'm going to work my business, I am doing this specific task. So maybe your host coaching, you spend 15 minutes on, that's all you do for that 15 minutes, or half an hour, however much time you allocate for that. And you're not going from email to message to host coaching and, oh, someone messaged me, I'm going to go check this message. Or, oh, I just got an email ping. Turn off all your notifications for things and have it scheduled. This is the time I'm going to check my messages, so that you're not losing productivity by switching task to task to task. Okay, so what would be some successful wording to use to contact guests of past shows that haven't hosted in a while? I certainly think there's lots of different words you can use, but I am really excited by the Disney products. So anytime there's like something new that's coming out or new launching, like use that as your, as your platform to ask for the booking, because people get excited about new stuff. And use whatever you're excited about and go back and you can ask them, or start by doing customer care and asking them how their products are, and lead with the service, and then you can ask for the booking. What does your to-do list look like? My to-do list is something where I don't cross everything off every single day. Whatever I don't get done, I move to the very next day. So I procrastinate on purpose, the Rory Vaden book. So I prioritize my to-do list of things I need to do, and then the things I get done that are priorities, I do the priorities first. Whatever I don't finish goes to the next day. But I always spend my to-do list, my priority items, on my business first. So it's my host coaching. I could do host coaching calls Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I send booking messages every single day. We just talked about 10 contacts a day, right? I make 20 to 30, sometimes 40 contacts a day because I have a rigorous show schedule. So those always come first. It's just personal business, booking, host coaching, recruiting, helping my new team members, helping my top performers. It's kind of in that order, along with what other random stuff I have. Okay. Okay. So do you use an app for a calendar, or do you use paper calendar? How do you keep it all organized? So you can have success with paper or digital. I use a paper calendar because I just like to feel it, and I like to write on it, and I like to see everything all in one big go. So I do use paper, but I know like Stacy uses digital, and you can be very successful with that too. So it is all about having good organizational systems, and I could take a whole training on that. So we will have an entire training all about recruiting. Let's see here. Oh, thanks, Jason, for sharing some wording. 25 new messages. Oh my gosh, you guys. Okay, so we probably don't have enough time to get through all of these, because I'm sure there's more to reach out to. I message everyone from all my parties, everyone that was in the party. I will actually message and ask them to book a party. So if I have 30 to 40 guests in a party, which is my goal, and if I'm running 6 to 8 to 10 virtual parties a week, there's lots of contacts right there, right? So when you boost your host coaching, you get more contacts in your parties, you can ask more people. All right, so do you contact once you've already contacted all of your Facebook friends? You certainly could go through your Facebook friends list and your guests. I think you just ask everyone. You just literally reach out to every single person. So, okay. Can you repeat your order of priority? Bookings, host coaching, recruiting, helping new consultants, and high performers on my team. So if you don't have a team, those last two items wouldn't be necessarily for you, but because my personal business has to come first. It's very much like the RSVP model, which is recruiting, sales, very new people, and performers. It's really similar if you guys have not heard that before. I do virtual parties most exclusively. I occasionally get a request for a cooking show, and I'll do like maybe one cooking show a month. Do you only ask people that place an order? I ask every single person in the party. I do friend requests, all of the people in the party before I ask them. I send friend requests on Tuesday or Wednesday usually, and I send booking messages on Friday or Saturday, so it gives them time to respond to my friend request. What do you say to book ask for the party if it was a member of the group that didn't participate? I just say, hey, thanks for joining Susie's Pampered Chef Party. I'd love to hook you up with some free products as well. What do I say? I'd love to hook you up with some free products as well. Would you be interested in hosting a virtual party with your friends? And Susie gets credit. I always put Susie gets, the host gets credit, because some people will book a party just because their friend they want to get credit for their friend. So how do you send out a message about booking without it being a cold message? So there's lots of different ways you could do that. For people who are in my parties, I try and establish a relationship with them first to make sure that I'm not just like coming out of the blue asking them to book a party. But if they didn't interact in the party at all, I still ask them to book a party. That is a cold message because I didn't get a chance to interact with them. However, like I don't mind asking random strangers I don't know to book a party. It's harder if they're people on your friends list that are acquaintances to just like do a cold message per se, but you could start the conversation up with like, I think this is a good one, because it is super helpful. So it's not just like making something up, but it's something like, hey, I don't know if you know this, but I'm with Pampered Chef and I'm actually doing like a little survey. Would you mind answering a question or two for me? And then the questions are like, do you cook or do you bake? Tell me what your biggest struggle is in the kitchen. So starting the conversation with like, hey, I'm doing this like little survey. Can you tell me a little bit more about your life in the kitchen? And sometimes it is really interesting to just get that feedback and start that conversation, and then that can lead into booking. So for example, if they say, oh, I love to bake and I bake with my kids and my biggest struggle is time, like you could just start the conversation flowing from there. And maybe we, talking about the Toy Story products. Oh my gosh, I love that you love to bake with your kids. I don't know if you saw this, we just came up with these products. You could totally get them for free. Or posting things on your personal wall on occasion. I'll post something on my personal wall and I'll get interaction, and then I'll message those people. So that's not a cold message because they've already interacted with me. And then I message them and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love that you love these products. You could totally get them for free as a host. Like I just booked a party from a Toy Story post I did because the lady wanted them and didn't have the money to get them. So there's lots of different ways that you can do that. Do you have a separate Facebook account if your friend requested all of them? No, I do not. However, there's lots of different ways you could do that. You could have a separate account if you want. I found the reason I haven't created a separate one is because I was okay with my personal life and my business life kind of being blended. And I have gotten so much business from building a relationship with my friends list now. And I kind of have like this little tribe. I have this community of friends, like 5,000 of them, that now like we connect on different things. And when I post different things, I post, and I'm not always posting business. I post business like once every month or once every couple months, and it's still sharing other things. Don't try and friend request me because I'm at my limit, but you can follow me. But you could start, a business page and have them all follow your business page, or you could start, an Instagram and maybe use that for business. So there's lots of different ways that you can do that. Okay, guys, I feel like these questions could go on and on and on. I'm sorry I cannot answer all of them, but I'm glad I could at least get to some of them, and I want to respect your guys' time because I did share that we would have like 10 minutes at the end for questions. So thank you so much for being on with us tonight. Just a heads up, next Tuesday is our next call, and then we'll have a call almost every Tuesday. There's a couple of weeks that we don't have one, and then our last call will actually be on a Monday because it's going to be a post-conference wrap-up, because there's lots of holy cow exciting things coming at conference that are going to rock your socks off and blow your mind. Like I swear they say this every single year, but this year it's like, okay, other years it's like here. This year it's like here, because I know what some of the things are, and it is going to be insane, and we are going to want to process it and strategize and talk about that. So so make sure you're here for that call. The last one's on a Monday. All right, guys, have an amazing night. Thank you for being with us and investing in your business. Go make your 10 contacts today, you guys. Okay, see you later. Bye.